The era of the Internet of Things is upon us with the advances in wired and wireless network technologies. Soon, communication among people speaking different languages will be possible and voice command devices will become prevalent. Another technological evolution will take us to the era of digital transformation, where everything in the world will become connected to a single network. Televisions will autonomously switch channels based on users' needs. Self-driving cars will take passengers to their destinations. Lights will turn on automatically in people's homes in time for their arrival. Indoor temperature control and even cooking won't require a human touch. In the world of digital transformation, the futuristic technologies seen in movies will actually exist in reality. Let's explore the digital transformation services that will enrich people's lives and enhance convenience in the near future.
Today we have with us Mr. Ben Chung, the manager of the Cisco Innovation Center here in Songdo, Korea, a leader in digital commercialization services. And Mr. Chung is here today to talk to us about the implications of the age of digitization. Mr. Chung, welcome to our show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here today.
So my understanding is in a lot of recent international forums, there's been a lot of discussion about the so-called Internet of Things. But for many of our viewers, this is perhaps a somewhat unfamiliar term. Can you tell us exactly what is meant by the Internet of Things?
Okay, let me try. So, Internet of Things is basically IoT. A lot of people refer it as IoT. Basically, what we're trying to do is that there's a devices we call thing is connect to the internet. It's a simple term, but the devices should have some sensor capability, so they can able to understand some information about temperatures and what's going on in the external factor, and then pass the information to the internet, and you can either pass the data or you can react on it. I know I'm explaining things very very technical terms, so let me try to explain things in very simple way. Right. So let's assume that look at your human body, right? You got your eyes, and your nose, and mouth, and ears, and your fingertips. Right. Basically, your eyes can able to see things, your nose can able to smell, your mouth able to speak. Right. So let's assume that these are the sensors, and you can pass that information through your nerve system, then able to communicate each other what's going on, and you know what's going on in the external and globally.
Right. So for specifically in terms of Internet of Things technologies, which technology was the first to find a sort of broad application, and which technology, emerging technologies regarding Internet of Things, do you think has the most potential, the most momentum today?
Well, I think we shouldn't limit the industry
right.
Because IoT is coming from the technologies that combine into the internet, and
right.
there's how this is coming from. But a lot of people today talks about the smart home residential side of it,
right.
and also there's a lot of a movement going on in manufacturing and other sector as well. So again, for me, as a technologist, I don't want to limit internet IoT to the certain industry because it's happening everywhere.
Right. But are there specific, I mean, what was an early example of a successful use of Internet of Things approaches?
A lot of, I can give you some example. I was actually came to Songdo about 4 years ago for the Smart City project.
Right.
But when people talk about Smart City, it's got a lot of components right. into it. One of the things very interesting conversation I had was a lot of a smart home actually coming from a lot of a long history on it. It started with the home automations, because back then a lot of people think that what if I can control my home appliances automatically
right.
and remotely. So that means you got a home appliance as a thing, and they connect to the internet, and you can control it. So those are a lot of discussion and thoughts has been done long time in the commercial sector. However, I think the machine-to-machine study has been done quite some time. What makes difference between IoT and machine-to-machines is machine-to-machine is more about communication between one machine to other machines. IoT is more about there's a thing can able to sense something and then pass that information to a lot of bigger things.
Right. So in terms of the technology, there are certain technologies that have to be in place in order to fully utilize this Internet of Things. What level are we in terms of the development of necessary technologies, and what might be sort of a new innovation that's representative of the new potential?
So put it this way, as of today, there's only 1% of the thing that could connect to the internet are connected. So that means there's a 99% of thing should be connected to the internet, but is not connected. So there'll be about 50 billions things will be connected by 2020. So I know my answer is going around a bit, but what I'm trying to say is, again, we shouldn't actually put some limit or where we are on the technology-wise, because there's infinity opportunity out there for the IoT. Because again, the technology is evolving at the moment, and then internet has been evolving at the moment, and then there's a lot of sensors coming on the industry. So there's a huge opportunity out there. But I think a lot of movement going on in the IoT today is mainly on the manufacturing sector and also a lot of consumer side as well.
Right. So we had a chance to tour your Cisco Innovation Center and see the various work going on in terms of innovation and application of Internet of Things technologies. Let's take a look at that footage now and then continue our conversation.
Songdo International Business District, located in Incheon, is where the think tank of Cisco Systems Korea is based. Cisco Systems, founded in the United States of America in 1984, is a technology company that offers integrated communication systems to businesses and network solutions to telecommunications service providers. The Cisco Innovation Center that opened in Songdo in October 2013 presents various IoT solutions, including the lost child locating solution.
So the child is actually reading the wearable devices, right? That is connected on the network platform. So every platform, every device is actually connected on the Cisco network platforms. So that that way we can predict the situations, and also we can resolve the issue or situations.
When a child goes outside the designated area, the control center is immediately notified by the tracking device. The child's information, as well as his or her travel route monitored by street cameras, are displayed on screen in the control center in real time. The information is also relayed to the solution users to facilitate the tracking process.
The distributed science solution can be deployed inside the building or maybe underground or service stations. So everywhere, every information can be reached out to the citizens.
IoT solutions can be applied to parking and smart factory systems. The Cisco Innovation Center presents smart factory solutions through simulations.
Okay, let's go for the smart manufacturing incubation room. So just follow me here. So we have Cisco switches ready, and all the environment is connected on network platforms. We have water leakage sensors as well. So if I drop the water, that actually make the water leakage alert.
The smart factory system can prevent significant damages caused by a gas leak, mechanical failure, or any other accidents.
Attention, methane gas alert happens.
Equipment and machinery can be remotely monitored at the control center to ensure normal operations.
So from plant worker and also operator center, we can call the remote experts. The remote expert, they don't need to be at the on-site. We can call any site of the expert. So that way we can talk together, we can actually face together to fix the situation.
There are also smart office, smart lecture, smart home, smart healthcare. and various other smart IoT solutions that show a glimpse into the changes that will be brought on by this technology. Cisco conducted a Smart Street Challenge last year, and top prize went to Lineable for its lost child locating solution.
미화방지 서비스인 리니어블을 만들고 있는 스타트업 리니어블입니다. 주변에 리니어블 사용자들이 있으면 그들을 통해서 위치를 확인할 수 있는 기능을 제공합니다.
The contestants presented innovative ideas such as smart direction signs and giving a glimpse into our bright future with IoT. Cutting-edge technologies are needed to turn Songdo into a smart city. Cisco is collaborating with enterprises and organizations to build the necessary infrastructures to allow real-life applications of IoT technologies.
Now, we had a chance to look at the missing child location solution and the factory solution here. Tell us a little bit about the underlying principles that make these solutions work.
Okay. For missing child, actually, it's quite known concept for a long time, actually. So as you can see from video footage, basically we try to tracking the child.
Right.
It happened to be missing.
Right.
I think again the concept has been there for a long time, but it's possible today because IoT technology is now widely available.
Right.
As you can see from the actual footage, let's assume that you lost your child in your suburb
right.
or some amusement park.
Right.
There's so many people there. Only thing you're looking for is where's my child in last time, right? And that means you can actually track your child and then go from there to find your children. That means in technology sense, the child should have some sort of a wearable or smartphone to able to hold that into the kit that you can actually use that as a sensor and able to track those. But on that end, I want to emphasize one thing though. It's not just about technology because end of the day, let's just say you're tracking your child and you know where the child is, right? There's no way that you can just go yourself and find out. You need to let others know about it. Let police and others know about that. So also other video footage actually tell us that let's just say that you lost your child and do the technology aspect of the tracking your child, and then there's processes that are able to pass that information to the police and others, so you can actually maybe showing the video to digital signage or whatever it is, so everyone in the city can able to know that this is happening, so you can have a better outcome when you lost your child.
Now, these solutions are very exciting and have a lot of potential. How far have they developed? Are we now at the point of commercialization?
Yeah, actually, again, technology has been ready for quite some time. But as I mentioned earlier, it's not just about technologies.
Right.
There's always regulations and policies that you need to be able to making it. So I think I think as time goes by, I think such a service will be more widely using it. But at the moment, I think some company actually use it as a solution and some are not. But it's happening today.
So Cisco has been a leader in terms of innovation, application of Internet of Things technologies, and you've worked with government, with industry, and with educational institutions to fully implement these opportunities. Tell us, what are some of the outstanding achievements that have come from those efforts, and are there any new outstanding technologies that you've unveiled recently?
Let me put it this way. The innovation is part of our DNA from Cisco from day one. Cisco has 5 pillars of innovation corporate strategy, which is build, buy, partner, invest, and co-development.
Right.
Using that 5 pillars, we've been working very close with both government, academia, and public and private sectors. So we're doing a lot of good activities, like start from the internship, doing a lot of hackathon, and so work with our universities and other sectors as well. And we also work in a lot of global sectors. We've been actually hosting the Women in IT event in our center, which is they try to emphasize of importance of IT skill for the female engineers. By doing that, so Cisco Korea actually award from MSIP for a lot of good works done for IoT in ecosystem in Korea.
Now, the IoT, Internet of Things, has an enormous appeal, But of course, you have to have a certain degree of infrastructure in place before you can make use of it. So in the case of some regions that don't have the necessary infrastructure or developing countries, is there some sort of technology or approach to serve as a sort of bridge to get people over so they can start to make use of this remarkable technology as they scale up in terms of the infrastructure?
Well, where I look at it is as the technologies grow
Yes.
and improved, such an issue going to address more often. Even just looking at a cloud today,
Right.
the cloud is like a basic concept. I mean, cloud is using the other sectors and other
Right.
purpose at the moment. But cloud itself is basically concept is they're using shared resource and shared storage. So that means rather than previous and historically old technology and architectures,
Right.
that means everything need to have on-premise based in it. But using the cloud can be, that means you only have accessibility to the internet, able to a lot of resource which never able to done so. So those are the, I think, technology will grow and thus the issue going to be resolved. On the other hand, I heard that company like Google and
Right.
Facebook, they're
Right.
actually doing a lot of very interesting stuff. I heard that Face and Google actually making some drones able to fly on those developing
Right.
country, able to pass the internet accessibility to those countries there as well. But on the other hand, I'm looking at things as this is not just technology issues.
Right.
You need to have a sustainability. So that means it is also important to provide the infrastructure, but you need to make sure that you can have a right skill set for those in the developing country as well. So that means there's a lot of educational other stuff need to be helped them
Right.
out. So Cisco has been doing a lot of a good thing for this. Cisco has a program for more than 17 years of Cisco Network Academic Program. So that academic program actually help all these developed countries able to learn the skill set for the future as well.
Is there a particular country or city where you can say the Internet of Things has been applied in a particularly effective way? And is there a particular career or place or workplace where it's being used most effectively?
Well, I can proudly say Korea is one of the #1 country that actually using IoT. I always looking at just mobile phone, use of the mobile phone and use of the smartphone is something related to the technology growth and how the people is accepting the new technologies. I heard that within next several years, the world populations of the using mobile devices
Right.
going to increase to 70% of populations.
Wow.
But in Korea, 90%.
Right.
So that means there's a lot of a good thing going on in Korea, and then obviously the IoT is big movement going in Korea as well.
So there's an enormous potential in Korea. What specifically has, say, the Korean government or Korean industry, et cetera, done going forward to promote Internet of Things? Any particular unique achievements here in Korea?
Well, we work very close to the Korean government,
Right.
and also a lot of industry in Korea today work very close to the Korean government on this. And where actually observation is that Korean government actually increased a lot of these technologies.
Right.
I heard that last time that ITU conference happened in the last conference, Korea government actually brought agenda for the IoT for the first time. So
Interesting.
such a thing is that I think Korean government is endorse such important things there. And I'm sure there's a lot of communities and consortium and other areas going on there. So Cisco actually recently announced the Open Fork Consortium as well, which is a very important architecture for the IoT. So such a things is happening all over the world at the time.
Now, one field which has received a lot of attention with regards to the Internet of Things is healthcare. Can you tell us a little bit about how the healthcare industry is being revolutionized by the potential of the Internet of Things?
Yep. So according to TechNavio, by 2019, there are approximately of a 33% year-by-year growth of the healthcare-related devices usage. Also, according to the PAC Association, by 2018, the approximately 70 million devices that relate to healthcare will be sold. That's translated to 80 billion US dollars opportunity out there. So
Right.
there's a huge market for the healthcare related. I've been using this Fitbit for last 3 years. It's a
Yes.
simple healthcare devices you can able to measure about your human behavior
Right.
and sleeping patterns and measuring calories.
Got it.
Also, there's some innovative company like IT Bra. Basically, what they build is using the sensor capability and using into the woman's bra, able to measure breast cancers proactively. So there's a very interesting, innovative movement going on there as well.
Right. Now, one interesting new phenomenon is the so-called smart sports arena. Can you tell us a little bit about this new effort?
Sports and entertainment is a very interesting, exciting industry as well. Company like SAP using the in-memory DB capability as well as analytic capability and expertise, they actually able to using the expertise to able to measure how the sportsman is behaving it. Using that analytic skill, they can able to use for the team player and team strategy. On the other hand, company like Cisco, we've been doing a lot of sports and entertainments like a Connect Stadium. Basically, more from the fans' view, you can able to look at your camera view of your sports field from different angles. You can able to see what's really going on there, and also you can actually replay your sports exciting moment, because sometimes you lose that. You can able to see this kind of thing. So as a smartness of all these things into the different industry, there's so many exciting things can come up.
So are there any other fields in terms of IoT, Internet of Things, that are worth noting?
I mean, keep saying that from the beginning. I think there's a lot of things you can do in every different industry. But on the other hand, I think the manufacturing is something very exciting as well.
Right.
According to McKinsey Global Institute, they said IoT application factory setting could create value of $1.2 trillion through $3.7 trillion opportunity by 2025. Company like General Motors,
Right.
they've been using different sensors and using IoT capabilities. There's a process in the manufacturing that require to have a sensitiveness of temperatures and humidity when you're painting your car.
Right.
So they actually measure how the certain temperature and humidity of the factory setting, and they can actually reroute your factory process. So you can have a lot of important and exciting going on in manufacturing there as well.
Now, some speak more broadly of a digitization of our whole society. Can you tell us a little bit about how digitization is different from, say, IoT, Internet of Things?
So we talk about IoT is there's a thing or devices connect to the internet. So for me, that's more like technology terms.
Right.
But when you think about digitizations, it's about devices and people and data are all connected and create a better benefit for the business and lives. So that's what makes differences. So I think the digitalization is a more bigger term than IoT.
So digitization seems very appealing, but we wonder maybe if it's very far away still.
Well, I disagree. Digitization is happening today. There's a lot of company out there today hiring the chief CDO, which is the chief digital officers.
Right.
So there's a Gartner actually said within this year and next year, CDO will create and also will be managing at least 25% of the businesses. So digitalization is happening everywhere.
So one exciting application of digitization is smart home services. We prepared a video introducing smart home services. Let's take a look.
A smart home system allows remote control of home electronics and energy and security systems using smart devices. Smart devices, electronics and energy and security systems are linked and remotely operated by Wi-Fi.
I say half and half. So half side is good, half side is bad.
A smart home system even allows distance learning through a one-on-one teleconferencing between the teacher and student.
A lot of residents use smart devices to control their home systems and use telepresence to communicate all around the world.
This means that smart home system users can save a lot of time as they don't need to commute to school. They can also obtain various services in the comfort of their own homes without having to go out, and this will eventually reduce traffic congestion on the roads. Through the smart home system, gas, cooling and heating systems, security cameras and various other devices, systems in one's home can be remotely monitored and controlled, meaning that troubleshooting is possible even outside one's home.
So, what do you see as the real potential in smart home services, and how far along are we in terms of commercialization?
So smart home is also very interesting and important area because home is the way you live and your family lives.
Right.
So you want to make sure that your home is very pleasant and
Right.
quality measured. As I mentioned earlier, smart home has been started with the home automations before. Home automation is all about how you want to control your home appliances from remotely, also automatically control it. Now it's got a IoT technologies blended into the smart home. That means you can able to using sensors and understand what's going on outside or inside the houses. It can create a better quality place for living places there.
So what are the actual changes in terms of quality of life, experience of life that come with this smart home?
So let me give you one scenario here. So let's assume that you finish your work today and you drive home, and when you drive home, it's got a smart parking.
Right.
So it just automatically open the gate. You just get into that, and while you open the gate, it does tell your wife or someone in your houses that let them know you arrived.
Right.
So they can prepare for your dinner or something.
Right.
And then when you get into your parking spot, basically you know there's an empty spot because you can see the LED or whatever signage. It does have a sensor capability to able to understand there's empty space. And while you walk into the door is officially automatically open because you got a RF tag knows that you are the residents of this apartment. And then your elevator is automatically open. You get into the houses. And then while you're having a dinner, you got this notification saying you got an English tutor within 5 minutes,
Right.
but you know that your English tutor is in US,
Right.
okay? Then you're just sitting on your couches
Right.
or just looking at the TV, and TV has the video conference system.
Right.
The other side of the TV, there's an English tutor
Right.
coming along, which is based in US. You can able to communicate and learn about English tutors. So these are some of the imagination you can have on smart home. But matter of fact, this is happening today. Some of the apartment in Songdo has this capability, and such thing is happening in widely in today, and then we will evolve more smartness into it.
So I can imagine in the future, digitization would provide a considerable market globally.
Yes, yes.
What are your expectations looking forward?
So I think I mentioned earlier, there's only 1% of things
Right.
could be connected today are connected. So there's a 99% things will be connected for the opportunity out there. By 2020, there's a $19 trillion of opportunities for the business and consumer for this industry. According to manufacturing sector, there's about $383 billion of industry opportunity for next 10 years. There's a huge opportunity market is in futures.
Now, there are many people who are very excited by the Internet of Things, IoT, but feel a little hesitation because of the issue of security, hacking, and things like that. What, in terms of security controls, what is being done and what will be done to make sure that the Internet of Things remains secure and reliable?
So security is one of the very important things. So as the data has been more consumed and stored, because everything is now connected, the exponentiality of the growing of the data is growing. So it is very important to have a security measures first. That's why a company like Cisco is not only focused on the IoT and digitalizations, it's also focused on the security as one of the high priority. That's the reason we have been actually acquisition of a lot of company, especially last several months and several years. A company like OpenDNS and Bankoff is more the security-focused company to help us on this as well. And one thing I just want to mention there is that the security is not only rules of the IT or technology companies. It needs to have, along with the users, along with the policymakers, along with the regulators, and along with the, all the vendors who making the devices, need to be work together and create the right ecosystem to address these problems.
Now, Korea, of course, is very well suited for the IoT, Internet of Things, has very high quality IT infrastructure. But of course, in many places, massive amounts of data transmission is a real challenge. What are your thoughts about this issue?
Well, again, I disagree with your comment there as well, because a lot of people think that the IoT and latest technologies is very costly.
Right.
But just looking at a historical perspective, also the what's going to happen for next 10 years and 15 years, one statistic tells us that by 2015 and 2025, the speed of the connectivity, meaning like a cellular or Wi-Fi, going to be increased 16 times higher than today.
Wow.
And then computing powers like a CPU and GPU will be increasing about 32 times than today. Meanwhile, the storage spaces put on your data is reduced 100 times. So there will be a lot of cost effectiveness going to be happen. And historically, actually, there's a 1946. There's a first actually general purpose computer called ENIAC.
Right.
It cost about $5.5 million US. It's a huge, like a 1,800 square feet.
Right.
It's like 30 tons,
Right.
and it only does about 5,000 operation speed. But if you just compare that as a typical greeting card, you remember there's a greeting card you can just buy from the store, open it up, and you play the music.
Right, right.
That's how much you think that is. It's like a $2 and $5, right? So if you compare that to the greeting card, it's about 80 times faster.
Right.
It's about 1.7 million times smaller.
Right.
It's about 1.1 million times less expensive.
Right.
So I think my answer to you is that as the technology is evolving and growing, all this cost effectiveness solution will come out, and cost benefit for all this usage for that.
So in terms of sort of social overhead, capital investments and efforts, your feeling is that we already have what we need? There's not a need for a massive investment in order to make the Internet of Things possible?
Well, something we need to also think about is that the human history has done last 3 times of industrial revolutions. And something we learned from that, while they doing it, we got a lot of disruption on the typical old industries, and because of that, there's a lagging of reskilling of the people, and there's some sort of economical and a lot of other issues. So I think those are the things we need to be very careful about it, because at the end of the day, it's all about the people to make sure that we address other issues like that.
Now, some have voiced considerable concerns about the issues for jobs, for employment. That's to say that digitization and the automation of the workplace will have a negative impact. What are your thoughts about those sorts of issues?
Well, I answered in earlier questions. So even the digital world that machine can able to learn things, and they may be able to mimic our intelligence, it's all about the people.
Right.
So I remember I was attending a very interesting meeting several years back. There's a very high senior exec from 2 different sectors. They try to create new solution to disrupt particular industry.
Right.
Very tense meeting. Because they don't understand each other's industry, also they don't actually quite believe what are each other's benefit out of it. Within all these tense meetings, there's one corner, very quiet person. He basically telling everyone, hey, my experience is that whatever you do, let's build system for the services, not service for the system.
Right.
Just think about it. System for the services, not service for the system. So you need to build, you want to create something, you want to make sure it's serving the people, serving the quality of the people. So I think, again, it's all about people. So we have to think about that, about digitization side of it.
So in terms of the future employment opportunities, are there any new careers that will be born out of this age of digitization?
So Cisco done some survey about 2 years ago, talking to the around 7,500 IT and business leader in the 12 largest organization.
Right.
We asked a lot of questions. They come back saying globally 33% of them believe that IoT will create more jobs in their organization, and it's more bigger in emerging markets. Also, they said 47% believe that the IoT will higher the ages of the company on the much higher in emerging market as well. There is new jobs such as consumer drone maintenance and programmer, which I don't know what does it really do. And according to Fast Futures predict that there will be jobs like old age willingness managers, vertical farmer,
Right.
nanomedic, and alternative vehicle developers. Also, we know that there's a lot of shortage of security expert today. So there will be a lot of huge opportunity for the new jobs as well as our shadow industry as well.
So ultimately, what do you see as the implications of this Internet of Things for humanity, for humankind?
So we believe the power of technology to transform industry and people lives, and see it is moving very fast and day by day. And as we talk about, our conversation not just about technologies, also how people live and what kind of quality life we want to have in the futures. So end of the day, whether it's IoT and digitizations, it is all about the people. So we like to see that at the end, whatever we put it in, it's create the better quality of the human beings.
So this digital age promises tremendous rapid changes. How can we prepare ourselves to take full advantage of the potential of that change?
So disrupt yourself, someone else does to you. So we talk about there will be about 50 billion devices will be connected by 2020. Historically, only about 12% of Fortune 500, which company in 1995 is survived in 2014. Also, there's about 40% of company on Fortune 500 will be relevant and no longer there in next decade.
Right.
So we know that digital transformation is happening today. Then question we have to ask ourselves whether this digital transformation is against you or favor of you. And at the end, it's all about the people.
Well, Mr. Chung, thank you very much for having us here at the Cisco Innovation Center and for your very insightful comments.
Thank you very much.
And thank you, everybody, for joining us over the last few months here on G Lounge. It's been a great pleasure.